What's up, Z-Pack? It's your boy, Dr. Z. Check it out. I'm live and direct out of Z Studios. Today we're talking about this massacre in Manchester, again perpetrated by the same ridiculous cowards that perpetrate most of the terrorism in the world. Are we sick of them? Yes. Do we want them all dead? Yes. Does part of me want to melt the entire Middle East into glass? Yes. But are we also suffering from terrorism fatigue? The answer is possibly. Because it seems like, particularly in Great Britain, there's been attack after attack after attack after attack since 2005, when the second biggest attack happened then, and now we have the biggest attack since then, and it's women and children at a concert where people are going to have fun, and some freaking coward straps explosives to himself and detonates. And the question, Tom, is, are we still affected by this? Are we still angry? Are we still outraged? Should we be outraged, or should we be trying to look at the bigger picture?
Personally, when you said you wanted to talk about it on the show today, I was like, I don't want to talk about it because I feel literally nothing about it. It's just been so many of these that I'm like, I don't know if I'm deadened or jaded or what, or if it's a normal human response, but I can't bring myself to care. So that's...
Well, you know what I think what happened to me is I was like, oh, another bombing. Then I saw pictures of the little 8-year-old girl who was killed, and this is what happens to human beings. You end up using that empathy thing, which I've talked about before, versus compassion, which is love in the face of suffering. Empathy is shining a spotlight on a particular individual or small group of individuals and feeling what they feel. So you shine a spotlight on a dead 8-year-old girl whose life was taken at a concert where she was enjoying some really bad music, by the way, Ariana Grande, but we will forgive that.
Don't go there, Z.
I won't go there, because that'll get me really angry. And you feel instantly for her family, for children that are suffering around the world, and that is a powerful motivator to behave very rashly. So if I had some kind of, nuclear weapon capable of hitting ISIS, I would have pressed the button right then, feeling what I felt in that moment. And the question is that how we should behave? Is it actually the fact that we're getting terrorism fatigue? Is that sign of a bigger problem? And you know what I mean by terrorism fatigue, right, Tom? I'm saying this stuff happens all the time, and it's like Dave Chappelle said in his stand-up, right? It's like when the Challenger exploded when we were kids, that was the biggest disaster that had ever happened to our Gen X lives. And now it's like a Challenger explodes every other day on the news, and we're just bombarded with it through social media, through internet and all of that. Are we getting jaded?
Oh, no, well, like when I was a kid, I was 12 when 9/11 happened. So I remember that was like a cloud that hung over America for a year and a half, 2 years, stretching into 5 years. It felt like it was around forever, that feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I would argue the feeling in some sectors still exists, right? So now you have this event where, 22 innocents are killed, more than 60 are injured, and again, it's EMS week, so we want to celebrate everybody who runs into danger while other people are running away, and we want to vilify this coward, right, who does this thing. And think about the ideology that would force somebody, that would, what am I trying to say here? The ideology that would provoke somebody to behave like such a cowardly barbarian, right? It's inexcusable, and it's a bad ideology. A lot of these people aren't, I think the far left makes an argument that they're uneducated. It's an economic and political statement. I would make the argument that Sam Harris makes, and he's a liberal, and he says, no, these are bad ideas, and you should not underestimate the power of really bad ideas. Like, if you die, you're going to go see, however many virgins in paradise if you die a martyr. That is a bad idea based on no evidence at all, based on faith or stuff that's handed down from generations. This is true across religions, right? Lots of religions have bad ideas, lots of religions have good ideas. This is a bad idea that would cause somebody to strap explosives and kill children at a concert, guys. Like, we should never get fatigued to that. That's something we should never get tired of saying, no, that's not okay. We should hate the ideas and try to love everybody. Katy Perry said, this is all about love and breaking down borders and all of that. Now, how does your elephant feel about that, Tom, after a terrorist event?
Do not make this about Katy Perry right now, okay?
You like her, don't you?
Do not.
You like her.
All right, here's the thing. When you attack Islam, Islam's an idea. How are you attacking people when you attack Islam? How can you be Islamophobic for attacking an idea that hurts people? I don't get it.
It's all in how you attack it, Tom. So I think if you're talking about the idea that dying as a martyr, killing infidels, will send you to heaven, that is a specific tenet of a belief system that you can attack. If you're attacking all people who believe in Islam, which is the third largest religion on the planet, you're creating a recipe for trouble, not to mention a recipe for a fatwa, not to mention a degree of hypocrisy. Because say you're a Christian, well, the Christians had the Crusades, which were incredibly barbaric, and you know, maybe Islam's just catching up now. But the idea that there are bad ideas in the world, we shouldn't tolerate them, and we shouldn't hesitate to call them out. For example, I had Doc Vader rant about naturopathy. Now, there's a lot of ideas in naturopathy that are really bad, that, you know, 13 herbs and spices are better than science-based medicine, okay? It's a bad idea on many levels. Is science-based medicine perfect? No. Does it cause harm? Sure. Should we be thinking about balance? Of course. But then I said, you know, I was dissing homeopathy or something, and somebody wrote in, stop dissing homeopathy. And I wrote a simple response, which is, no, it's stupid AF. And it is. It's a stupid idea. So yes, you can attack bad ideas and still love people who have bad ideas. That's compassion. That's love in the face of suffering and stupid ideas. But we can't condone the ideas, and we can't shy away from attacking those ideas. The idea that if you martyr yourself, you go to heaven is a bad idea. It will bring no good to society. Now, you could argue that from a political angle, if you consider a lot of the Middle East is economically disadvantaged, has suffered at the hands of you know, colonial oppression, however you want to frame that, right? It still is not a good idea to blow yourself up and kill innocents. It's just not. And it has no place in a modern civilization. These are anti-civilization people, and they need to be called out for what they are, right? It's a bad idea.
People are saying that I'm being judgmental in the comments because I'm saying I don't care about this event, but it's been too many things. It was Timothy McVeigh, and it was 9/11, and it was Virginia Tech, and it was Columbine, and the Aurora shooting, and I can't care. I don't care. It didn't affect me.
You know what Tom has? Tom has empathy fatigue. He doesn't have compassion fatigue. He cannot invest himself in feeling every event's pain because there's so much pain. And I've argued this before, Z-Pack, from a healthcare standpoint. Having empathy, feeling other people's pain, is exhausting. It's necessary in certain quadrants, right? With your family, maybe occasionally, to feel what it's like to undergo a procedure, etc. But it causes bad behavior because you're going to react from anger or from pain because you're feeling anger and pain, and it's not sustainable. Now, what if, Tom, you and I did a, you know, compassion meditation where we tried to feel love even for, you know, for the victims of these crimes, for our friends, for our enemies, for the ISIS bomber who blew himself up. An unconditional, detached kind of compassion in the face of suffering. Because what kind of suffering does it take that you would be willing to give up your life to strap explosives to yourself? Now, I would argue he didn't suffer because he believed that he was going to heaven, and he truly believed this. And it's that kind of delusional idea that that needs to be stomped out. But what do you think of that compassion?
Well, often when you look into this, I mean, I've watched news reports on this, and these kids are uneducated, they're illiterate, they can't read the Quran, they're being told by some imam or somebody that this is the way, go do this, we'll take care of your family, you'll have all this great stuff, and this kid's only lived a life of poverty. So you can sympathize with that one kid, I guess, but you can't sympathize with the ideology that's...
Right.
You know.
And you shouldn't. You shouldn't sympathize with bad ideas. Look, even in parts of this country, there's Christian ideology that says evolution doesn't exist, that says that you're going to go to hell if you're gay. Like, these are ideas that I personally, my elephant, my unconscious, can't abide with. And, you know, it's interesting because Logan is quite conservative or quite libertarian, and I don't think he abides by these ideas. He just has a different strategy of how government should interface with people, right? So there are certain ideas that are just bad. We can debate other ideas, but I don't think there's any debate about creationism. Like, it's not a debate. Like, the science has settled this. There's no debate about vaccines. The science has settled this. So there's certain things we just have to step up and say, you know what? We can always have more knowledge, but certain things have been answered. Okay, and we should learn from them.
People should understand too, it's so hard to get to over 90% scientific consensus on anything.
On anything.
Scientists hate each other. Like, they literally do, and it's cutthroat.
Yeah,
right?
It's publish or perish. It's a whole game. You know, I mean, the whole space is kind of a mess and needs reform in itself. But, like, look, guys, like, let's just put this all in perspective. Little children were killed yesterday in Manchester, England. Okay, our hearts go out to them. Our hearts go out to the EMS frontline responders who were running into danger when everyone's running away. Just like Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers. They're always going in. You'll always see them. Today, I saw an accident in my own town. Car rolled over, big disaster, EMS, fire, they're all there. Kurt Vonnegut said, man's humanity to man is best represented by a fire truck, okay? This is heroism in the face of suffering. all of this happened, we should feel compassion, love in the face, and concern in the face of suffering. Empathy is a hard thing to feel. It's not sustainable. But here's a bigger picture. I rounded in the hospital today with the team. This is what I saw. I saw human suffering on a scale that would dwarf, statistically, any terrorist event that's ever happened in the history of mankind. I see chronic disease in young people. So we have a young Hispanic person who's diabetic, hypertensive, congestive heart failure, not even particularly obese. Western American diet's killing them, right? Do we teach them anything about this? No. Are they at all able to be educated about even the basic physiology of this stuff? It's very, very hard. So what happens? Hemoglobin A1C of 10, 3-vessel coronary disease, all these other things. And this not only is causing tremendous suffering for this person and their family, but it's causing tremendous economic suffering for our whole system. We ought to be focusing a lot of anger, a lot of righteous energy, a lot of our elephants stomping on this kind of thing, because this is something we can change. And one thing, Tom, you and I talked about this before the show, the world is actually getting safer. All the area under the curve of violence has been improving for years and years and years. But the way that we're fed information now, it affects us empathically. So we feel each of these events, and that is a very malproductive way to actually behave on a macro scale. On a minor scale, we can say, yes, this is very terrible, and we feel love and compassion for these people. But on a bigger scale, to react in a way that then trumps all our foreign policy and all our economic policy, there are bigger fish to fry, and they're right here at home. I'm not saying don't F with the terrorists, don't work to destroy them all and destroy the ideology, more importantly, that fuels them. But we have to really look more rationally and scientifically at the bigger picture.
I think that's a good place to stop, and we're going to keep this one short so we can share it, and then we're going to have a second cast that we're going to go live on right now, and we want your comments, join in on the conversation. We want to hear from you guys.
We're going to take some of the comments from this show, and we're going to take new comments, and we're going to go live in about 2 minutes. So come back and join us for that. Hit share on this, okay? If you like this show and you want to support it, go to Patreon, patreon.com/ZDoggMD, and be a patron of this show. It helps us a lot to grow the movement and the Health 3.0 movement. Okay, we're out. We're going to be back in 2.
Come back for the second cast, y'all.
Not today, ISIS.
Suck it, ISIS. You suck.